This demonstration, I'm going to show you the benefits of the Press to Impress stamp platform and how we actually use it and get the most out of it. Now, one of the main differences with the Press to Impress stamp platform is that the two sides here are open. And this means that you don't have to cut card down when you want to stamp. If you're anything like me, the idea of having to take a load of card and cut it to a certain size to fit it in is really irritating. I buy my card mostly in A4 size, and so I want to be able to fit it exactly into the press I'm using. And the Press to Impress was designed to do that. So as you can see here, I slide it into this top left-hand corner and use the two magnets supplied to secure it. And you can see here, we have this little notch. Now this notch is exactly where A4 card finishes. It was designed specifically to match the card that we're using so that this doesn't move or wobble at all. So instead of having to cut card down, we can simply stamp straight onto this. Now, I'm going to stamp first of all a clear stamp and show you something that I've always struggled with, which is getting a sentiment to stamp correctly. So I'm going to place the sentiment where I want, and I can use the guidelines that are on the top. So you can see here along the top, you have all in centimetres from 0 to 19 centimetres, and down the side again from 0 all the way to 23 centimetres. So you do have a complete guideline to show you exactly where you're going. So I'm going to put my stamp down, and I'm just going to then close the lid. This is a clear stamp, and the lid is made of a pure perspex, but if you can see, there's a grid on the lid as well. So if you want to check through just to see that it's nice and straight, you can use this grid line as well, and that will help you. And when we pick it up, you can see it's stuck perfectly to the top lid, so no need for blocks or anything. And I'm going to use VersaFine in Onyx Black to stamp, and I'm purposefully going to do something I used to do an awful lot, which is think I've inked the whole stamp, and I haven't. So I close that, I press gently around, and you can see there I've missed a line, so I didn't ink it. Now with a normal acrylic block, I would struggle. There's no way I could get that back in place. The Press to Impress is designed so that the paper doesn't move and the stamp doesn't move. So I simply re-ink my stamp and then press down. And there I get the perfect impression, and nobody knows that I didn't stamp one section of it. The other main difference with the Press to Impress stamping platform, if I remove these magnets, I'll be able to show you, I'll take out this paper insert, is the foam. Now, a lot of people will have heard and have been stamping for years know that to use a clear stamp and get a nice crisp impression, certainly on a larger stamp, say like this one, which I'm going to use in the next demonstration, you need to have something soft for it to go into. The physics of stamping is actually, if you have a hard surface going onto a hard surface, which is your card, onto a hard surface, your table, your stamp can either not connect properly or can squidge. So it's really important that you have the foam built in. And this is actually a very thick 4mm foam, high density, that's designed to hold this very well. In fact, this stamping platform, as you can see from the state of the foam, this has been mine for well over 2 years. I think it's about 2.5, 3 years at least I've been using this. And there's no visible dints or anything got into it, and anything will work out. But that foam means that you get the perfect impression out of your stamps, and especially out of your clear stamps. This time I'm going to stamp a larger, more detailed stamp and show you how we can use a stamp press to get a beautiful two-colour stamping look, again, which would be virtually impossible if we were using acrylic blocks. So I've got one of the 2J stamps here. This is the Millhouse, which is a very, very detailed stamp. So again, I'm going to place it evenly where I want the stamp to be. I've already put a piece of A4 paper into my press. So press down to pick that up onto the lid. And then I'm simply going to ink, first of all, very lightly with the Onyx Black. So I'm going to stamp that very lightly to give me quite a sketchy look, and press it everywhere. When you're pressing on a stamp press, you're not trying to restart someone's heart. You are just gently making sure you put pressure everywhere. And if you struggle with pressure, it's not the amount you use. You can use any part to hold it down. You just want to get a nice impression. And you see there, because I've inked it lightly, I've got a very sketchy look to it. Now, if I'd done this again with a standard acrylic block, I couldn't go back over, and I certainly couldn't go over with another colour. So this time I'm taking vintage sepia, and I'm giving it again a very light coating of the vintage sepia, which allows me to then simply stamp over the top. And if you can see there, I've got a beautiful two-tone look. So I've got the black and the brown. So it looks as if I've already been shading this stamp and colouring it in. But the work is all done by the Press to Impress. Finally, I'm going to show you what to do with already mounted rubber stamps. So here, I think these are Stamp Addicts. I have some rubber stamps, deeply etched, and these have already been mounted on U-mount foam. Now, obviously, this means that they're too thick. If you compare these against a clear stamp, they're obviously a lot thicker. So the Press to Impress was designed specifically to be able to work with these. So all I do is to take out my magnets, take out my paper protector I have. These are also available. And I take out this foam. And this is the important thing. This is what makes your stamping so clear and clean and crisp. So I'm then going to take this deeper well that I've got. Once again, my A4 card fits inside. And I just put my magnets in like that and hold it in place. Then I can arrange my foam mounted stamps, close my lid, and see they pick up perfectly with no gap. I can once again, we'll use the black, ink those. Give them a good inking and press them down, and these will stamp clearly simply because I have the foam in the top of the stamp. And you can see there, I've got a nice impression. Oh, I missed a little bit. That was purely accidental. So I've missed a little bit. So I'm just going to re-ink. The stamps haven't moved. The paper hasn't moved. So I don't have to worry about this. And I can just make sure I press nice and evenly everywhere. Again, it's not about the amount of pressure. It's about pressing. And I open that up and I've got that perfect impression. So whether it's using clear stamps or rubber stamps that have already been foam mounted or unmounted rubber stamps, everything works in here. The surface area that it will take is a full piece of A4 virtually, so it's a lot larger stamping area than A5. You're actually talking about a clear stamping area which is 7 inches by over 8 inches, because it has the inch measurements along the other side. And this is the best stamping tool that I've ever used.